He fired the janitor for being lazy. One simple accusation, a word that carried years of accumulated contempt, carelessness, and misjudgment. Daniel Ross didn't see the decades of service, the quiet diligence, the early mornings and late nights Samuel Hayes had endured. He didn't see the man who had maintained Titan Tech's sprawling facility, the man who had cleaned floors, repaired minor damages, and prevented accidents, all without recognition. He didn't see the storm brewing in that calm, unassuming janitor. Samuel Hayes, 61, had joined Titan Tech 32 years ago. He had been a young man then, eager to contribute, proud to work for a company that promised growth and opportunity. He had scrubbed floors until his hands blistered, polished hallways until they reflected the overhead fluorescent lights, and mopped spills that others ignored. He had done all this quietly, without complaint, without expecting thanks. Over time, though, pride gave way to patience, patience to endurance, endurance to quiet resignation. Yet Samuel was not blind. He had witnessed shortcuts, unsafe practices, and managerial negligence. He had reported hazards only to have them ignored or buried. He had raised concerns only to be dismissed as overly cautious or slow. The company rewarded appearances, not integrity, and he had learned to bend without breaking, to endure without complaint. Daniel Ross, 42, in his crisp suit and polished shoes, represented everything Samuel had endured. Arrogant, impatient, and dismissive, he wielded authority like armor. He thrived on control and belittled those who could not match his energy or ambition. To Daniel, people like Samuel were invisible, expendable, irrelevant. It was on a Monday morning, gray and drizzling, that Samuel's patience would meet its breaking point. Daniel entered the supply closet where Samuel was organizing cleaning materials, a folder clutched in his hand. "Samuel," Daniel said, voice sharp and echoing in the small space. "I've reviewed your performance logs. You've been lazy. HR has approved your termination. Pack your things." Samuel froze, mop in hand. He looked at Daniel, calm on the surface, but internally a fire began to burn. "Lazy?" he said softly. "I'm the one cleaning laboratories after engineers spill chemicals. I'm the one maintaining hallways, safety equipment, and labs. And you call me lazy?" Daniel's eyes narrowed. "Excuses don't matter. Your time here is over. Step aside and collect your personal items." Samuel packed slowly, deliberately. His thermos, a small photo of his daughter, and a notepad filled with years of observations and notes about Titan Tech's safety protocols. Each item a fragment of the life he had built quietly, carefully, and unacknowledged. He passed coworkers who avoided eye contact. Some were ashamed. Some indifferent. The humiliation was public, but Samuel's expression remained composed. At his small apartment later that evening, rain tapping against the window, Samuel unpacked a battered briefcase. Inside were decades of meticulous documentation, photographs of unsafe equipment, altered maintenance logs, emails from management dismissing hazards, internal incident reports buried or falsified. He spent hours reviewing each file, ensuring that every note, timestamp, and photo told a coherent story. The city outside was indifferent. Titan Tech's lights flickered across the parking lot, oblivious to the storm that Samuel was quietly preparing. Daniel Ross, confident and unaware, walked the hallways with the smugness of a man certain of his power. He did not know that the very person he had dismissed was preparing to reveal truths that could shatter his carefully curated world. Samuel's next step was deliberate: evidence collection, presentation, and exposure. He contacted journalists, presenting photographs of chemical spills, unsafe machinery, falsified logs, and management emails that revealed deliberate neglect. His calm, meticulous delivery left no room for doubt. He did not accuse, he presented facts. The story went live. Social media erupted. #Justice for Samuel began trending nationwide. Former employees corroborated his account. Protesters gathered outside Titan Tech headquarters, demanding accountability. Daniel Ross, once untouchable, faced scrutiny unlike anything he had imagined. The board of Titan Tech convened emergency meetings. Investigators reviewed Samuel's files, confirming every allegation. Legal action followed. Daniel Ross was suspended, stripped of his position, fined, and publicly censured. His reputation crumbled. Employees who had once endured humiliation found their voices. Samuel Hayes became a symbol of integrity, resilience, and quiet courage. He had not sought revenge, only justice. The quiet man who had endured years of indignity had turned truth into a weapon of change. Months later, Samuel returned to Titan Tech. The building was different. Policies had changed, safety protocols were enforced, and employees walked with confidence. Daniel Ross reflected on his arrogance and cruelty, understanding too late that power without accountability is fleeting. Samuel stood in the hallways, mop in hand. Recognition was unnecessary. Applause was irrelevant. He had proved that truth and patience were stronger than authority and intimidation. The quiet janitor had changed the world, not with anger but with integrity and courage. Weeks passed since the story went viral. Samuel Hayes's name became a symbol not only within Titan Tech, but across the industry. Local news stations ran in-depth segments on the negligence he had documented, while national outlets picked up the story as a shining example of individual courage against systemic indifference. Social media was alive with debate, support, and outrage. Employees from other corporations shared similar stories, inspired by Samuel's bravery, emboldened to speak out. Inside Titan Tech, the atmosphere shifted. Managers whispered in hallways. Executives held urgent meetings, their confidence rattled. Daniel Ross, once untouchable, found that every conversation now carried scrutiny. Every decision, every comment, every email could be traced, analyzed, and weaponized against him. He began to realize that arrogance without accountability leaves a trail, and Samuel Hayes had followed it with precision. Meanwhile, Samuel's life changed in quieter ways. The public attention brought invitations, speaking engagements at universities, community centers, and corporate ethics seminars. Samuel accepted, not for fame or recognition, but to ensure the lessons he had learned, patience, diligence, and courage in the face of injustice, were shared. He spoke about systemic neglect, about the power of meticulous documentation, and about the fact that no one is too small to make a difference. Back at Titan Tech, Daniel Ross faced legal consequences. An internal investigation led to a civil lawsuit, initiated by Samuel and backed by former employees willing to testify. Depositions revealed years of misconduct, negligence, and disregard for safety protocols. Daniel's defense crumbled under the weight of evidence. Photographs, reports, emails, and testimonies that corroborated Samuel's narrative. Every lie, every attempt to dismiss Samuel's concerns, had been recorded, saved, and presented. The courtroom was tense. Daniel sat across from Samuel, his confidence evaporating. Samuel, calm and composed, provided clear, factual testimony. His voice never wavered. "I performed my duties with diligence," he said. "I reported hazards. I documented incidents. Every effort I made was ignored. I was not lazy. I was truthful." Daniel's lawyers argued that he had acted in good faith, that he was unaware of Samuel's diligence. But the evidence was indisputable. Emails, incident reports, and testimonies proved that Daniel had intentionally minimized safety concerns, ignored hazards, and humiliated Samuel to maintain control over the department. When the verdict came, the judge's voice echoed through the courtroom. "Daniel Ross, you are found liable for wrongful termination, workplace harassment, and negligence. Your actions have caused emotional distress, damaged careers, and endangered employees. You are permanently removed from your position, disqualified from management roles, and fined accordingly. Let this serve as a reminder that authority carries responsibility." Daniel was escorted out, his career in ruins. Samuel, though vindicated, felt no satisfaction in vengeance. His victory was measured not in the downfall of one man, but in the restoration of justice and dignity. The aftermath at Titan Tech was transformative. Policies were rewritten. Safety protocols became mandatory. Employees who had once felt powerless were given a voice, and a reporting system was established that encouraged transparency and accountability. The building itself, once a place of neglect and fear, became a model of ethical workplace standards. Samuel returned to his daily life with a quiet sense of accomplishment. The mop in his hand, the briefcase by his side, and the knowledge that truth could not be silenced. These were his victories. He did not seek recognition. He did not crave fame. He sought only to ensure that what had happened to him would not happen to others. In interviews and speeches, Samuel emphasized the importance of diligence and preparation. He spoke about documenting facts, about standing firm even when ignored, and about the transformative power of patience. "Courage is quiet," he said in one speech. "It does not shout. It observes, records, and acts when the time is right. Truth, once spoken, cannot be erased." Over time, Samuel became a respected figure in corporate ethics circles, a voice for accountability and justice. Daniel Ross faded into obscurity, a cautionary tale of arrogance, cruelty, and the consequences of dismissing those who quietly keep systems functioning. Samuel's legacy was not one of anger. It was one of integrity, resilience, and moral courage. He had turned a story of humiliation into a lesson for millions. He had proven that dignity cannot be stolen, that truth cannot be silenced, and that even the quietest voices can echo powerfully when backed by facts and principle. And so, in the hallways he once walked silently, mop in hand, Samuel Hayes remained a quiet guardian of truth. The man who had been called lazy had, through patience and perseverance, reshaped the culture around him, leaving a lasting impact on the company, its employees, and the public. This was Echoes of Revenge, where silence speaks louder than anger, and justice always echoes back. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories where betrayal meets justice, and karma always finds its echo.